Welcome to Headwreckas KingTv, produced by the homies at Conceptual Logistics Enterprise. And I'm your host, D. Willa. And like I say, every week we're just going to keep it real 100% of the time and try to bring people together in the name of love. Yes, sir.
You can't believe everything you see on the TV. You can't believe everything you read in a magazine.
Like I always say, this isn't a show to try to sway you towards my opinion or try to get you to think any way other than how you are thinking. It's just a show that makes you think and maybe hear another side of the story so you can make your own decisions from there. You know what I'm saying? This week, we have a special guest, children's author and a fellow classmate of mine, Noah Rattler. He'll be joining us here in a few minutes. So we'll talk about his journey as he tries to bring awareness to the homeless situation in America. We're looking forward to this show. Like I said, we're going to have our first guest, but let's get directly into the hate. Oh man, it was a wonderful day for me. As you notice, let's not go directly to the hate. Let's go to what we've got cooking today. You know, today is Sunday, October the 4th. We've got our fucking Astros pushing to try to make this playoff run. So to try to explain to you, they're playing Arizona Diamondbacks right now as we speak, and I think the score is 2-2. So we're gonna keep our eyes on that throughout the show and see what the hell's going on with these guys. But so far, so good. And what's happening is they are one game up at the second wild card position, and they're also, I think they're one game behind the actual AL West division leaders. So the division leaders, the Texas Rangers. So today what happens is if they win and the Rangers lose, they're playing the Angels. If they win and the Rangers lose, we will play a one-game playoff against the Rangers to see who wins the division, the division. And whoever wins that wins the division, and whoever loses plays in the wild card game. If we win and the Angels win, I think, are just in the wild card game. No, if we win and the Angels lose, my fault, I'm sorry about that. If we win and the Angels lose, we're in the wild card game. If we lose and the Angels win, we have a one-game playoff to see who makes it to the wild card game against the Angels. So sending my good vibes out to my guys out there. Correa, Altuve showing ass. Carter somehow showing up. The bullpen was holding on the last couple of days. So let's just hope that they get it together, unlike the Texans. And again, the Texans played the Atlanta Falcons today, and they lost. Let me look at this score. 48-21. And all those points were scored at the end when they put in Hoyer. So let's give a big round of applause to the sorry-ass Texans. Y'all made my Sunday once again, fellas. I love it. It was, they just got their ass whooped. It was like 28-0 at the half. Nobody was looking good. Mallet was looking like we thought he would look. And nobody was looking good. And let's pull up the key player of the Texans. To all you Watt suckers that say J.J. Watt is the best, another poor game, 3 tackles. One was a solo tackle, but he had 1 sack. So they're going to say he did that, he had 1 sack. But to you Watt suckers, something's happening to your boy. Ever since he made that Cam Newton Superman pose when he sacked him, even though he was losing, and he sort of, he was being cocky about losing, he hasn't done shit. He hasn't done a damn thing. It's looking pathetic. We see J.J. Watt every week on these commercials. We see a commercial about J.J. Watt's legs doing stuff. I mean, come on, give me a break. He needs to start playing, If this was anybody else, they would say the Hollywood got to him, but nobody's going to say that about sweet JJ. But he's going to need to show up because they were looking like shit. And I don't think the DBs actually looked okay. Julio Jones, the best receiver in the league, didn't really do nothing today. But who did do something was the running backs. And as a defensive lineman, if the running back does good, that means you're not doing anything. So I wanna give another round of applause to the sorry ass Texans. And again, let's send our good vibes to the Houston Astros because I think it's about time. Before we take a break and get to our guest Noah Rattler, I want to say hopefully, not hopefully, next week I believe the basketball preseason is starting. And, I am a Rockets fan. That is my number one team. And I think we might have my man, a supreme hater, the hater of all haters, Joey Garcia, to talk a little basketball with us next week. So hopefully we can have that. I think that'll be a great show, a lot of fun for everybody, and you'll get to see me go back and forth with a retard. So I want to take a quick Kayani break, and we'll be back with my man Noah Rattler. Yes, sir. King TV.
Can't believe everything you see on the TV. You can't believe everything you read in a magazine. You can't believe all the bullshit on the internet. But when I speak, it's the truth. So
Welcome back to King TV with your host D Willa, and I am proud to present our first official guest, one of my friends, schoolmate, children's author, and homeless activist, Noah Rattler. Let's give him a round of applause. Appreciate you coming out here, Noah. How's it going, man?
Oh, that's me. What's up, man?
How's it going, man? How you been doing?
I'm good.
That's good.
Glad to be here. And I didn't know I was going to be the first guest. That's
Yeah,
like
you are the first
major
guest.
honor.
We had another PV alumni was supposed to come here last week, and he showed up at 5 o'clock. Appreciate that, Al Hughes. But, so he didn't get to make it on the show. But I appreciate you coming, man. You have an interesting story, and I like to tell people a lot about you, man, because, like I said, we're Prairie View alumni. We both were in the engineering, whatever together, whatever it's called. And, my man Noah took on another path, and he's been an activist for, like, homelessness, and he wrote a book. He took a trip. I mean, just tell us about what you did and why you did it and everything. Just let us know what's up on that, man.
Okay, well, I guess I'll start with the book because it's right here, and it kind of loops into everything else. I wrote this book with a classmate of mine from Sterling High School in 2013 in August. The book is called Noah's Walk, and it's about my walk from Houston to Los Angeles to raise awareness for homelessness, which took place in 2007.
Okay.
Now, in between 2007 and 2013, when we wrote the book, 2014 when we published it, I did wind up being an advocate for homelessness. I was done a few of the news shows in the area, had several events, including the Sleep Out. The Houston Sleep Out Summer did every November.
I know you was trying to get people out there to do the Sleep Out. I was like, I sent my love through. I didn't want to send that physical, but I sent that mental support out there. Man.
It worked. Everything helped. Everything helped. Because everything not for everybody.
Right.
Everything not for everybody. What we would do is whoever came out would spend the night outside. So folk from the homeless community would come spend the night with us, and people from the shelters or the organizations will come out as well, and they'll spend some time with us. And what the goal was to just get everybody more educated on the realities of homelessness and kind of let them slip behind what their stereotypes may be, what their preconceptions might be.
What are some of those preconceptions and how,
Well, one of them is one that I had when I got there. I thought all homelessness was like mental illness, and it's much more complex than that. There's another one that floats around that everybody who is homeless wants to be there, and that's not the case. You can always, if you ask enough people, you better find somebody who validates your theory, but you got to skip over a whole bunch of folks that don't validate it, that invalidate it. And so you'll find people who are out there because they want to be homeless. You find people who are out there and they don't know why they out there. You find people who are out there who are hiding from society, from their families. They got records. They may not want to get close to being plugged into the system, so they survive how they can. And you have people who are out there for mental illness. You got folk from bankruptcies who are totally healthy. Mind works everything else, but they may have had medical bankruptcy. that wound up helping them lose their home. You also even have people who are working full-time jobs. So you can have a family with two parents working a full-time job and they living in a shelter because things happen.
Yeah.
And you hear people say it, most Americans are 1 or 2 paychecks away from being homeless. It's generally true because it's like not a real save-heavy country. And so when them layoffs happen out of nowhere, something dramatic happens where all of the resources you have winds up being unavailable to you, you wind up being homeless. And you don't have to be living on the street under the bridge to be homeless. You can be living in a shelter. You can be staying in a hotel for a while or in your friend's basement for a little. Well, we don't have basements down here. In the spare rooms or taking couches or something like that. You don't necessarily have to be on the streets itself. If you don't have your own place, technically you fall under the definition, and it happens for so many different reasons. So when I started volunteering, I thought it was all mental illness. It's much more than that. And that's what made me really jump in. Because if you look at society, you look at the news, you listen to what politicians are talking about, they talking about education, talking about crime, social justice, medicals, healthcare in this country, immigration, foreign politics with wars and all this other stuff,
Guns.
refugee situation, gun, all of that
Yeah.
puts people on the streets here. And so to look at homelessness as a group and look at it in detail is to see in detail all the problems that this country has and where people are slipping through the cracks. Because most of the things we do, most of them are done all right. Most people eat well here. Most people get satisfactory C-grade passing education. Most people get some health care. Most people don't die of really easily fixable diseases. Mm-hmm. But there are a lot of people who suffer, like get the sharp edge of the stick on a bunch of that stuff.
Yeah.
And I look at that engineering education, mechanical engineering, all they talk about getting efficiencies and tolerances and all that stuff. When I see that, I look at somewhere there's an inefficiency in the system somehow. And we need to tweak something so we can get rid of that. So bringing that back to the book, that's what the walk was for, to kind of just get to set the stage. And the way it happened, I walked 20 miles a day. It was 1,800 miles from Houston to Los Angeles. 20 miles a day from Houston to Dallas. Same thing, 20 miles a day from Dallas to Amarillo. And then Amarillo all the way to the coast. In every city that had a shelter, I would stop at that shelter and get the media to come out. Either newspaper, TV cameras, call into a radio station. And they would do a story and bring some attention to it.
Right.
And so that was the tool, the mechanism, and I'm starting to realize that millions of people across this country saw it, at least a little bit. Several tens of thousands read newspaper articles about it. And in the time since, people participate in the sleep out and all this other stuff that I've created to not necessarily sway people's opinions. I'm not trying to coerce anybody into anything or tell anybody what to do. I'm just trying to present folk with information in an environment where they can receive it and make better decisions going forward. More informed decisions going forward.
That's 100% what this show is about. It's about giving them another option, another way of thinking. You know, we're not trying to sway you. Mm-hmm. We're just trying to throw something else out there to get you to think. And that, you know, and that's what you're out here doing. That's pretty cool. So, what made you do it? Like, why did you, like, what made you decide to do the walk? You know, that's a long ass way, man.
It is. But like back at Prairie View, before I graduated, I was living in Hempstead, going to school every day on campus, and a lot of times I was walking back and forth.
You're right.
So that's like 10 miles, 10, 12 miles a day, and I started to love walking while I was at Prairie View, even before I moved out to Hempstead. I was staying like in Pine. Before I moved to Pine Island, just like right off the yard, I'd walk back and forth, and it's just so pretty out there. I love nature, I love being out in it, and once I started walking, I got bit by a bug. It's like the walking bug, and I was kind of addicted to it. It's like a good way to get meditation in. It's a good way to just breathe and relax before tests, before step practice, whatever I had going on. It was like a great time just to be by myself and like zone out. And so as I started doing that more, when I went in different places, I would make sure that I walked somewhere there. One day I was in Jersey on a co-op with the FAA, and I walked to the mall and a couple times over and came back. And I was in so much pain the next day. I didn't know, I couldn't walk that far. I Googled it, and it's like 24 miles. I had walked 24 miles. And having walked 24 miles made me think back to when I was thinking about, you know what? I bet I can walk I-10. How far is I-10? It's like 2,400 something miles. If I walk 20 miles a day, I can do it in 120 days. Just break it down. And so when I did that 24, I wasn't really seriously thinking about it. It was just an entertaining idea. When I did that 24, I was like, that's dope. I can actually do it. So that's one side. The other side is just my parents, the way they raised me, was to care for my community, really do for my community. They was always bringing people in the house when they have a place to stay. When I came out of Prairie View, I was trying to figure out how, like I said, I was interested in mental illness. Just trying to see what that looked like in the real world for people who don't have money to pay for services or medication or whatever. So I started volunteering with the homeless, and it was so much bigger than I thought it was. When this was 05, 06, I got my physics degree. I wanted to do something really big. I was thinking about walking at the same time as I was volunteering, thinking about walking, volunteering, thinking about walking, volunteering, and the two just came together into one. And on March 24th, I left downtown Houston, heading north, and on August the 4th, I stepped into the ocean.
Say that again. What days were those?
March 24th. That's when I left.
March.
And August the 4th.
April, May, June, July, August.
And that right there, that July, August time,
yeah, it's hot.
I was like right through the desert. Yeah. That's when I landed. And
so, just real quick, how did you you stayed at, where did you stay? How did you, we run out of time with this segment, but where did you stay? Like, how did you pull that off? Like, quick.
Okay, I had a support vehicle with me.
Okay.
So I would walk against traffic, and they would just go down a few miles, and I'd come up and meet them, take a break.
Okay.
Do that 3-4 times a day. At the end of the day, would sleep in the vehicle in a gas station or Walmart parking lot on the side of the road.
Okay.
Parking, rest area or something. Then we wake up the next day, I'd take out walking, and they meet me.
Did you have sponsors or something, or?
I had like Sunfire Foods, the health food restaurant, Sunshines.
Okay.
They were a sponsor. It's a godgig.org. I'm not sure if he still has that website, but he was a sponsor.
Okay.
He donated a support vehicle. Jeree was one of the drivers. It was a whole bunch of people. Like Jesse Brown in my neighborhood, she like rallied the troops, was organizing the campaign here in Houston. The community pitched in and sponsored this trip.
Cool. Well, I appreciate that, man. Would you stay around for another segment? We talk about some of this news.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So we'll be back. Appreciate y'all watching King TV. Mr. Noah Rattler out here. Noah's Walk. Y'all check that out. We'll be back. Yes, sir.
You can't believe everything you see.